So the market's not looking so great, as I mentioned, but where is it gonna go next? We're gonna dive into where the market's at right now, what's been going on with the CME gaps and Bitcoin, and some major things that you guys need to know about AI. All right, so congratulations to all of you who've been following this channel for the last while. And if you're not, you should definitely be signing up and watching these videos and smashing that like. Why? Well, it's simple as this. For the last 4 weeks, I've been telling you guys about this CME gap. So as you can see, we had another one again from the 15th, right here, huge gap that filled literally right to the top and then rebounded, did a 3 inside down right here, and then started dropping off. So now we had another gap, and I was talking about this weekend that we're likely going to fill this gap. So if you're watching and you're following on Twitter, you will know my thought process through the whole thing, but if you're following 40 different people, you're gonna get confused. So try to stick with me here so that you can get in the part where all the other followers that are really following here are actually making a lot of capital because they're knowing when to get in and out of trades, especially from the weekend to the Mondays. So where are we going next? Well, we filled the gap. Talked about this on Monday that we're likely gonna fill this gap. We went all the way to 66,000. So a lot of people got really excited, longed, then they got wicked out, right? Because it dropped down. Now is a great opportunity. So if you're someone who's been watching these gaps play out, it's likely that we're gonna come and start to go higher. And why I know that's gonna happen is because we had this 3 inside up, a very strong 3 inside up off the top of the cloud, right? And not only was it off the top of the cloud, we have the AGIX in there as well. So you have 2 forms of support that have come to basically fruition right here. Now we have the gap filled. So what happens next? My opinion is when we have 3 inside ups, we likely go higher. So it's very possible, like we had this 3 inside up over here in April, that this could fake out and come back down. But I think right now is obviously a time where volumes are starting to drop off. The price starts to drop off. We have a deviation from the price action to the volume. And usually when you have those type of deviations, you end up getting a boner candle. So what I'm expecting this week is likely to see a boner candle on Bitcoin to have us get pushed a little bit higher. Now, sell in May and go away could have been a thing, but we pretty much sold off all of April. And if we go back to April, actually we sold off starting in March, and we kind of been going on a downtrend with, see lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. We need to break out of that trend and basically break out, period. So if we go on the normal Bitcoin chart that I use, that you guys watch, it's a little bit messy right now, I'm sorry about that, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Basically, you can see that we had a downtrend here, we broke out of it, and then we kind of coming down and we're hodling on the top of that line, right? So if we break below that again, it's likely that we come back into this beautiful downtrend and come to the bottom again and go even lower, which I thought could possibly happen. You know, that 53, 52, that level could be something that plays out. I want to show you guys another thing that happened, and it's from last cycle. And this is right when we had our big first downturn, and that was also, look at it, May, right? Then we jumped up back in July of 2021. Is this going to play out the same way? I don't think so, but look at what we had here. We had the 3 inside down, we broke out, it kind of fake out breakout, and then it came back down, and then we went a little bit lower, and then we finally broke back out to the positive side. So let's just fast forward all the way back to where we are right now. It's a similar type of thing happening here, but what I see is bears are trying to push the market down, and how I know that is every time we go up, we get a wick to the upside. Usually when we're trying to get the market to go back up, you get these long wicks to the downside where people are buying it up. So right now, it could mean that the bears are a little bit more in control of the bulls, and we need the bulls to come back and shoot this higher and get some real volume back into the market. So today is a big day, because if we don't start seeing some volume, we break below and back in, we might have that type of trend continue and go down into the lower 50s. So that is what to prepare for. I personally think we're going to see an impulse come this week, just because people are very negative right now. There's a lot less people looking at the markets. There's a lot of people that are kind of like, screw this, I'm bored. And then there's meme coins, right? Where always they're going to do well no matter what the market is, but you know, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. Now, Ethereum is obviously in a bearish cycle, right? Like we're below the cloud, our Chiku's bearish. You know, our positive side is that the Kijinsen is kind of hooking down. So maybe we would see that kind of break back up into like the end of May or June. But remember, in May and June and July, we generally have a bad quarter. Quarter 3 is not the best quarter to be in the market, mainly because everyone goes on vacation. If you don't have COVID this cycle, right, which we don't, we can travel freely, you can go and travel to Europe or Canada China or wherever you want to go in the world. So what's going to happen is people are going to go do those things. And while they're doing those things with their families and spending time away, and the whales are the ones who are going to do this, they have money already. I'm going to be doing this personally myself. So I can tell you this is very real that people will not be focusing as much on the market. That could go in two ways, but I'm thinking we're going to likely have more downside or more sideways action through the summer. And then we'll start to see the movement and impulse back up into the end of August and into September, October, like we did last cycle around that same exact time, 2024, 2020. So people misplaced the timing of the cycle. I think this cycle tops out. And if we start in September, I originally thought 12 months after halving, but we haven't had an impulse at all since halving. So it could go maybe until, a few months later, like, the end of next year. Possible. We're going to kind of play this by ear, but generally it's always been 365 days to the top. Maybe this cycle might be a little bit different, and that's all because the ETF and a lot of my friends have not been able to call Bitcoin anymore, especially on the shorter time frames. It's been very difficult this cycle. All right, so I'm going to show you guys some proof right now of things that I've said in the past that will help you understand why you should be following this channel and why you should actually be paying attention and hitting that bell. Here's a great example. I said in August of 2023, we have 3 months to position yourselves accordingly, or it's likely you'll be buying on the way back up. So if we actually go and look at Bitcoin from that time frame, I said October 22nd was going to likely be the date where the bull market would start, right? So I was telling everyone back in August 29th that like you have a few months left, and that's it. You're pretty much screwed if you wait too long. And you had about a month and a half, and then we started to bull. And the bull went crazy, went to all-time high from that point. So if you guys want to be like the people who were following you back then and actually win this cycle right now, make sure that you guys are following along, because this is the way that you have a path to win. That's the goal here, right? You guys get to be my next future millionaires by literally just learning what I'm teaching you. Okay, so let's look into the market and see, is there anything that actually is doing well? Well, AGIX and FET and Ocean all started to come back a little bit, but again, they're stuck in the cloud. We've got a bearish TK cross, and they're underneath the cloud. So we're watching for that because it definitely could break out of the cloud and then start giving us some positive bullish momentum again. But these coins and tokens are still not in a perfect spot, which is also coinciding with me thinking we're likely going to have some choppiness into the summer and then after kids go back to school and people get back to work and people are grinding and like really focused, that's when the money is going to start to flow back in. And you're seeing that just from the actual volume that's in the market right now as well. So we look at FET. FET's the same thing, almost exactly the same type of chart as AGIX. And then when we look at Ocean's actually more bearish than the other two because it's underneath the cloud right now, and it bearish retested $1. So it's likely that will actually come back down a little bit more. And as you can see, that 200 EMA here is a lot closer and already been retested once. I can see us coming back down in if we get bearish in the 58 to 57 cent range. So it could definitely drop a lot, which is why every single day that you have positions that are open in profit, you should be making a habit of taking profit. Even if it's like $500, $100, $50 if it's not on ETH, obviously, because the gas prices. Okay, so going to Solana, right? It's come down. It's come to this level, that $118 level again, kind of ranged between, since all the way back in February, it's ranged between $118 and 100 and like just around 200, but let's say it's around 205, right? 200, 205. So between 200 and 180. And it's kind of been sticking in between those levels and retesting those levels with a big dump off over here on the 5th of March. Went down into my zone here. So like, I'll be looking at that same zone again, us coming into it potentially if we have a bearish summer, something around this range. So we could come back down to the $100 range for Solana, but remember, I think it's gonna hit 1,000 this cycle. You guys at home should be planning for that. Maybe not buy it right this second because it's not in a place that I would be buying it, but what you could be doing is planning on where you want to buy it, whether that be down here at 118 again, or just a little bit lower at 115, or if you think we might get a wick like we did here back into this zone in the $104, $105, $102 range, that's where you plan, right? So if you want to plan a trade, it's very simple. You go, okay, I want to buy around here. So right here, you can click on right click and click on alert and put an alert so that when Solana gets to there, that you're going to buy it. Now you could also coincidentally go onto your exchange and put in an order at that price. At $120, I want to buy X amount, like 25%, right? So you can buy some then, you can buy some 100, like let's say 113, you could set up another one along the lines of the 200 EMA, and then you could set one just like as a dip buy order just in case we get a good opportunity to buy at 104. So now you have like these 3 zones set up, and you could actually go on to the exchange, set up limit orders, and just literally wait for them to hit. Now it's a really patient strategy, and you have to learn to like leave your capital there and let it kind of do its thing, or put it into GMX and let it do its thing. But you need to actually be patient, because if you're trying to make money faster, it's not going to happen. So keep focused on where you want to buy any coin, not just Solana, and actually set it up with alerts, or actually put the limit orders there so that you can catch these dips when they happen. Otherwise, they dip, they rip back up, and you miss the opportunity. And usually when they dip to those crazy levels, like it goes to 105 bucks, it's likely going to rip right back to 120, and you'll miss out like a 20-25% easy move. And that's how you make the most amount of money in cryptos, on these crazy dips where everything's irrationally happening.